name is Karen Thomas, and I want to welcome you to the Summit Seekers virtual coffee chat we have on Thursday mornings at 11:30 Eastern Time. Now, this chat is for the community because we're all entrepreneurs seeking to learn and to walk as better leaders. So we're going to cover different kind of topics on business, how maybe some how-tos, but we're all have a different idea and different companies that we're working in. And we're going to, talk about and have discussions about things in running our businesses and becoming the leaders for the team members that we are bringing into our businesses. So if you like what you hear, give us a hashtag replay. And of course, give us an aha moment that you have with listening to whatever the conversation or that is going on. Now, so far this morning, most of the people in our community are in the MLM networking opportunities. A lot of them sell things. And of course, with this being, right after Thanksgiving, and we're now in the last, basic 4 weeks, the showdown to December, the end of the year, and everybody's trying to make their last, this last month really count for their pocketbook, their profits. So far, nobody's joined, but that's okay, because you see, it's showing up. That's what leaders do. Whether anybody else is going to be here or not, I'm going to show up for you and be here for you, and we're going to talk about something. Now, the biggest thing that I know about it being here November 30th, it's the last day of the month. So for a lot of this community and for people in general, the end of the month is about getting those last minute sales in, because some companies do their ranking on month to month, first of the month to the end of the month. Some do it by every 2 weeks or, different quarters. So most of the time people are trying to get stuff done so that they can look better or rank up or make more money. And it's all about trying to get those last numbers in for the end of the month. Now, if you're one of those people that it's the end of the year, then this whole next month of December is going to be important to you in trying to make the numbers for the end of the year to see where you rank in the company or what you're actually going to be having as your profit for the entire year. Now, when I was running my MLM home-based business, I was doing it because I had a special needs child and I had to do something from home, and building a business was the only way. And I understood that in order for me to make money, I had to keep doubling my business. So I would put my daughter in a little wagon and we went and hung books around the neighborhood. I would, when my husband was home, I would leave my daughter. I'd go do deliveries and talk to customers, or I would go to events where customers might, attend. Or I went out and took my daughter and we went and walked in malls and talked to people. But back in the day when my daughter was little and I started, it wasn't really my first step into being an entrepreneur, but it's the one that gave me the biggest why. Because when I first became the Avon lady, I was 16 years old. I was the youngest person. And I would go to their meetings they had once a month, and I would look at all these old ladies and thinking, wow, there's a lot of old ladies here. And half of them weren't real, feeling very didn't have a lot of vitality, but they all seemed to love Avon and talk about how wonderful being in the company was. And I did that, I want to say, for a year or so, making sales and doing, being the little Avon lady in my little apartment complex, because that's where we lived at the time, until I could really, because at 16, I couldn't get a job. And we didn't have a car for me to, I wasn't driving. I was only 16. So that was my way of making money because I got tired of, waiting for people to call me for babysitting. And for those of you that really love children, bless you. I wasn't really one of those people that loved children and that they could do no wrong. And I wasn't in a hurry to have children. And so when I got married, I, basically told my husband I wasn't going to be one of those get married and have babies right away. I wasn't interested in having kids right away. Well, all he heard was I wasn't interested in having kids. You know how men kind of hear you half of what you say. But after 4 or 5 years of marriage, I worked in a bank, and then I worked as a dental assistant. I did different types of jobs, but I loved working and being out with people. And when I wanted to have kids, my husband was in a business that kept him out a lot. And he wasn't one of those husbands that made my world shine when he was home. It was, where's dinner? You know, and we did a few things, but I worked at trying to have adventures in our life. I saved up. I would take like $10 from the grocery bill or padded. I would tell him how much I spent on groceries and add $10, and then I put the $10 away. And in about a year, I saved enough for us to go on vacation in our little pop-up down to Florida. Well, that didn't go over real well because I didn't ask permission to do that. So when we got back, and even though we enjoyed it, we had a good time. I had to then show the receipts for what I spent for groceries. So, when you start being controlled and stuff, it really loses its appeal for doing things. But going back to being an entrepreneur, when I got pregnant because I decided I wanted to have kids, I was tired of being by myself, and my daughter was born with spina bifida. I became an instant stay-at-home mom, which I was very much not prepared for. And having to find a way to make money from home because our insurance that covered me being pregnant, covered the doctors for her birth, covered everything for her, were all tied through my job because my husband, in the infinite wisdom that he had, he started his own business. And in starting his own business 3 months before the baby was due, he took the brand new car that we had bought to have for the family vehicle and turned it into a work vehicle. So then I didn't have, the world that I thought I was supposed to have, I didn't have. And part of growing up and going through life is finding out that life ends up not being anything that you thought it would be. Things happen, and how do you pick yourself up from that? So when my daughter was born with spina bifida, and I tried to go back to work, but the place that I was working for at the time decided that it was not me, and a special needs, medically needy child was not going to work into their plan. So they let me go 90 days to the letter of the law. And all of a sudden, I'm now having to say, okay, I have a baby that has medical problems. And because way back when, because she's 40, she's in her 40s now. She's 40, she turned 41 this year. You had the whole thing of pre-existing conditions. So we could then not let our insurance lapse, and we had to go with what they called COBRA. And we could do that for 18 months. We got the insurance at a discounted price, them having insurance on our own. But the problem is that now I not only did not have a paycheck coming in for going to work, I now had a new bill that had to be paid above everything else, above the rent, above the groceries, above anything else. The health insurance now had to be paid for. in order to keep her covered, because her disability was a birth defect and she was going to have surgeries. She had 3 within her first 10 days of living. And because there was orthopedic problems involved with spina bifida, we know that there was going to be a whole realm of physical therapies, things, all through her life that insurance would be needed to help cover the costs of. So my why got really, really big on having to make money somehow, some way. So, of course, with having all the baby stuff, I decided daycare would be it. And so I did daycare, and I did daycare probably for a good year, and had kids until my daughter got a bladder infection that, when we started giving her the medicine for it, it included penicillin. And in doing the penicillin, she had an allergic reaction. And all of a sudden, she's starting to swell and blow up. And I have to rush her to the emergency room, and I have to find places for these kids. I can't just walk out the door. I can't call the ambulance and have them send my baby to the emergency room by herself. So, I was in a panic, and luckily, I think that day my husband, because he was in business for himself, could come home, and we were able to manage to call parents and get people to come get the kids, and we were able to quickly get her. He took her to the emergency room, and I got the kids taken care of to their parents, and then I went. But that ended the daycare business that I had, because I said, I can't do this ever again. I can't go through this, um, this happening. When life changes, your whole perception of what you can and can't handle, what you can and can't do, changes. But having a why that is necessary, of life or death, or having something to do with your children's, livelihood, or their emotional or physical well-being, is massive. And I tried cleaning houses, and I did that for a little while, and that petered out when people went on vacation and they didn't want to pay me. And I'm like, I can't have weeks that people just decide that they don't pay me to work. So I went back to Avon, and I started building, and I doubled my business every year until I built it to over $100,000 in sales every year. The thing with doing that is that it enables you to understand that you can scale. I left trying to do homes in the neighborhoods, because I ended up, back then they had territories, and I couldn't get enough sales in the territory. So I went back to all the places that I used to work, and I started doing businesses. And in building my business, I learned how to arrange my time and how to be logistically, make it efficient for gas and time, so that I wasn't paying sitters for all the time that I needed to be gone. And then when my daughter got to be, the age that, 3 or 4, and she couldn't walk, so she wasn't able to interact or have play dates, or have friends that she could, have fun with. So I put her in a preschool, and I had to come up with the money to put her in a preschool. I found a Montessori school that would take her. And there again, my husband at the time did not see a need for her to go to school. So he said he wasn't paying for it. And getting the social skills was important, that I wanted my daughter to have interactions with other kids that was not, part of, just being with family, that she could grow her own relationships and learn how to interact with people in her peer group. So I had to go make money to do that. when you have a big enough why, if your business is not succeeding, look at why you're doing it. If you're not making the money that you want to have, then look at why and what are, is excuses getting in the way. Do you not feel like it? Do you not go out and do the things that you know will make the contacts for growing your business? There was no excuse that I could live with for not doing the things I knew, and knocking on the doors and passing out the catalogs and getting up every day and going to go see customers and do deliveries that I could come up with and still look my daughter in the eye and tell her that I couldn't afford it. I became the number one rep in our district. I became the number one rep in the state. And people used to say that, that I used tricks, or that I was cheating in some way. And I told people, when you're working for the money to have a Slurpee and a Tootsie Roll as a reward for your daughter at therapy because she cries and screams all the way through it, I said, it's a whole different ballgame. You walk a day in my shoes, and it will change your whole perspective on what you do and why you get up in the morning. Now, my daughter is 40-some now, and so life changes as we go along into the reasons why we do stuff. Now, when my daughter was 12, I was at the height of my business. I had people working for me. I had 6 employees. I was doing $5,000 every 2 weeks in product. I had people who were bagging my orders. I had people who were invoicing my orders. I had people who were doing the ordering. And I went out and found new business all the time to help keep the sales growing. Well, my daughter had to have back surgery because she developed scoliosis, which is very normal for spina bifida. And in the process of her going through the surgery, she got an infection in her back, and she had to have penicillin. And the whole process of special needs children, you will find that families either grow together or they grow apart. And things were not well in my family, but I had to stay home with her because she was in a body cast for 6 months while she was healing from them putting rods in her back to straighten up her scoliosis. Well, things did not go well with my business, with me not being able to be out and to manage my employees well. My husband decided to have issues, and so we started to go through divorce proceedings. And so my whole world fell apart. And I was, making sales of $150,000. And because my whole world was falling apart and I felt like my children were the most important part of it, I had to get my daughter well. Well, she came through the body cast, and we got the infection taken care of. And then we found out she wasn't healing well in her incisions and stuff. We found out she was allergic to one of the metals in the rods. And she had to go back into surgery and have them all removed. So what was supposed to only take supposedly about 6 months to a year ended up taking over 2 years. I had to close my whole Avon business down. I went through my divorce. I went through the hell for 2 years of my whole life falling apart. The thing is what do you do with that? How do you come back from that? And in doing that, I got her well. I got her back, we had to homeschool her while she was going through all of this. And I had teachers coming in and out. But, family railed around me, and my mother stepped in and took care of everything for me, because we were living together in the house that we all bought together for my family and her to have a place. The thing is as life changes, I am now at 65 helping my mom through her last years. And just like I wanted my daughter to grow and be a productive human being, I am now here helping my mom have the best and the easiest, whatever I can give her through her last years. So I take her on trips because she loves to see nature and trees. And so I plan trips, and I plan, outings for us. But she still is independent and plays bridge. She still drives for right now. But every month and every week that goes by, I feel blessed that she is still able to do for herself. And when you are creating the business and the life that you want, you have to learn how to flow with it, how to flow with the bad things, how to flow with the tragedies, how to flow when things are going well. And if you will ask any top athlete, actress, any top person in any field, they will tell you that there were people along the way that helped them. If you go to your athletes like Vanessa Williams, she, as a tennis player, she has a tennis coach. She has a nutrition coach. She has a marketing coach. She has a communication or a publicist. There's people you have to have in your life and in your space that can help you in the different areas of your life. And when you're building your business, sometimes your business community is not always the total answer. The company, being the Avon lady, they had strict guidelines of how they did stuff. And it didn't fit my life with my special needs child. I finally worked when I came back to Avon and I rebuilt it. I said, you know what? This every 2 weeks is not working for me. No, I think I did that. I got rid of that when I was still doing with 150,000, because I said, you know what? I'm not waiting and doing $5,000 or 5,000 every 2 weeks. I started doing orders every day. But the way the system was set up, it didn't cost me anything extra. I would put 2 or 3 orders together, and there was free shipping for representatives if their order was over $200. And doing $5,000 every 2 weeks, I could do $300-400 every day without a problem. So every day or every other day, I did orders, and we had orders coming in every day. And so we bagged and tagged and we invoiced and we did every day. And a lot of the things that Avon moved into doing, I was doing way before they ever came up with it, because their model did not meet what I needed for my family. And so sometimes being a leader is thinking outside of the box, thinking and growing according to what you need. And sometimes you have to switch companies. When Avon was sold for the second time, I worried that maybe Avon wouldn't be here when I would be 80. Because when we went through the 2008 crisis, I lost 2/3 of my business at that time due to people losing their jobs. They didn't have the money. Husbands lost their jobs. Wives, their hours were cut down. People just didn't have the money. I lost 2/3 of my business in 2008. I was so close to quitting a job that I had, because when my daughter came back and from her surgeries and stuff, I didn't have a business. I had closed down my business. I had closed down that Avon business. And so I had to go to work in a job to pay bills and to get back on my feet. And I've been through the jobs, then I quit that job when I was with my second husband, he said, they treat you like crap. He says, go do what you want to do. And so I went back to Avon and I started building and recruiting and doing. But anyway, neither here nor there. Life changes and we have to learn how to flow with it, how to make the best of whatever's going on in your life work, because life is never going to be a smooth road. It's going to meander. It's going to change. But through all the years that I have been with Avon and that I have served women, the biggest thing that I know is that women give away everything they have to everybody else. And that entrepreneurs die early most of the time because they give to everybody else and they don't give back to themselves. What I want to tell you is that you have to learn, and any good mentor or coach to you in your life is going to tell you that you need to find ways to take care of your health, your nutrition, and your finances. You have to look, and sometimes you have to change companies. When Avon was sold the second time, and I had to look at, if I keep building this, will they be, do I want to start over at 80? What if they don't make it? They didn't do the transition well to the online space and the internet back when websites were being developed and stuff. They didn't really work at trying to cultivate the younger generations. They were still trying to do business as usual. And I was trying to cultivate and spread it in a different way, and they did not appreciate that, and we had differences. And so I left Avon again, this time because I wanted to build and have something that I could depend on when I get to be 70, 75, or 80, and helping people be healthy and helping entrepreneurs be healthy in their mindset, how they're thinking, learning how to focus and build their business, how to take care of their nutrition. Taking care of being healthy while you build your business is my mission now. I have a class coming up December 11th, and it is about having vitality over 50 so that you can enjoy and reap the rewards of your business. Because whether you stay in this business that you're at or you add several more, because now I have 3 or 4 companies that I promote and that I work with, but guiding entrepreneurs and teaching you how to stay focused and how to get your business built so that it provides you the freedom that you want is my main mission, along as well as keeping you healthy for doing that. So I have a class coming up on December 11th that is about being healthy in your senior years, because I'm 65 years old. I've been building businesses and I have paid attention to my health, because one thing I learned about having a daughter with special needs is that your body is the only one you have, and you have to learn how to manage it so that it stays healthy, so that it will give you the service all through your life. So come, I will put the link in the post when I post this, so that you can register or come to my class on December 11th. I want to teach you some of the secrets that I've learned for keeping on the younger side, even though I've had all these stresses and all these problems in my life. I've not had physical problems because of the way I take care of my body and the things that I do for it. And I'd like to show you those so that you do not make the mistakes of so many other entrepreneurs, and women especially, that give away everything. And when they get to their 60s and 70s, Everybody's gone. They're living with walkers, with oxygen, and they're not able to do the things that they want to do to enjoy life. So come join me on December 11th, and I'm here to help you be the best and have the best profitable business that you can have. Is it easy? Well, if it was easy, everybody would have it. But it is doable, and it is worth learning the techniques and the skills. I've developed a program that teaches a lot of these. If you are interested in my program, you can start at karensfreegift.com. That is the basis of a lot of my program, and that's the first place I have people start. So if you want to visit karensfreegift.com, that will be the place that you can start having the best life and the best business that you can ever and that you can develop. Going into 2024, we need to be looking at what didn't go well this year. Where did we drop the ball? And writing goals and getting our goals on track for having and growing our business next year. The goal writing class that we had last week sold out. It was absolutely fabulous. And so if you could not go, look for your invite or your email about the new goal writing class that will be next week on the 13th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. So I am excited to help you have the life of your dreams and the business that brings you joy and happiness and is not work. So until next week, we will be back on December 7th is our next chat. I guess, it is the busy time of year for all of my ladies in the community. And so nobody dropped in, and hopefully somebody will have a few moments that they can drop in. If not, as usual, I'll try to bring you some information that will help bring your life and make your business, running your business, a little bit easier. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.